Hello, my name's Adele Green and I'm an assistant head at Anglesey Primary School.
And I'm Sandra Skinner, Assistant Head in Key Stage 2 at Anglesey Primary School. It's a 3 form-entry primary school. We have over 700 children within the school and a speech and language resource base also, and we're an inner city school in Birmingham.
Yeah, we have a high percentage of children on pupil premium. We have over 90% EAL children.
And it's a very deprived area of Birmingham.
Well, the old APP system developed children sort of on a ladder system, and it meant that they weren't learning in greater depth. They were going on and speeding on ahead at quite a fast rate with no depth in their learning. So the new climbing frame system means that children can work with a level of deeper understanding and greater depth.
Yeah, that's the main reason that we chose it, because it enables us to dig deeper rather than concentrating on superficial learning. And also, because we were involved with it right from the beginning, we were able to have some sort of input on the sorts of things that we wanted to appear in the climbing frame. Obviously it's the national curriculum, but we had some input as well.
Yeah, we've been able to make it quite bespoke to our school. It wasn't very rigid and specific. We were able to take what we wanted for our school and make it useful for the children in our school. By the end of the year we needed to get through a whole cycle because everything was very new to the staff, looking at life without levels and the new national curriculum. So it took them a while to get used to it, and then to get used to the system. But they've talked to us throughout the process, and by the end they've seen that it has given them the data that they needed, and it has shown how we can track progress right from September to the summer.
I think generally speaking, with the actual IT side of it, most teachers have found that really quite easy and accessible, especially the younger members of staff have taken to it quite easily.
I think it's helped them to be quite specific about what they're teaching, and also to understand not to rush on ahead to the next year's work, but to make sure that the children, as we were saying, have got a deep understanding of their learning, and that's what climbing frames allows us to do, to mark off small steps, but then at the end look at the whole of the curriculum and to see if it's been covered.
And it's also really useful for tracking children. It clearly shows those that are slightly falling behind. It's very easy to pinpoint which children need that extra support. At the moment, most of them take it home or work after school using laptops or iPads. But within our conferencing session, the intention is that they'll have an iPad with them, so they'll be able to actually record it there and then with the children when they're satisfied they've reached an objective.
Yeah, we've been able to get teachers to bring in printouts from the climbing frames when we've had termly pupil progress meetings, and they've been able to interpret the data and again look to track pupils throughout and look to see which children are showing up on red and are falling behind, and which children are on track, so they can work out next steps and planning.
It's been very useful. It's helped people to get used to the new national curriculum. We've obviously made it our own as well. We've tweaked little bits of it. We've added stuff in as well with the objectives, but it has been useful for people to get used to that new curriculum.
Yeah, and we've been asking staff to bring in the climbing frames to their planning meetings, so they've always had those to refer to help with their planning. Then they know what they're assessing at the end.
It's something that we've actually been doing this year. We have conferencing sessions with the children where the teacher works with a small group of children setting targets, and the climbing frame has been really useful because they can refer to those objectives and know what the next step is going to be. So it's something we've already been using,
Yeah,
but we're going to continue to use more of.
We'll develop that further next year to make sure that each group in our conferencing file has a climbing frame with them, and they'll be able to move through and set targets, and they can set their own targets as well as the teachers.
Yeah, they're really accessible. It's very easy to see because you can see individual children, you can look at percentages, progress attainment, and for ourselves as well, we can look at the whole cohort, so the year group as a whole, and look at percentages of children that are reaching age expected level or falling behind.
Yeah, and it tracks different groups, doesn't it? So we can keep a track on boys, girls, pupil premium children, SENs, and keep a track on where they are. Our head teacher's very supportive and has been right from the start, hasn't she? She's supported our use of climbing frames and also allowed us to deliver it to the staff in a way that fits in with our school and our curriculum, so that the teachers take ownership of it and will use it effectively.
And we recently had a day where we reported to governors, and the climbing frame was one of the things we were reporting on, the assessment system, and they were equally impressed with it, weren't they, and thought that it would be a useful thing for them to be involved in so that they have a clear understanding of assessment within the school. We decided we were going to do termly meetings with governors to feed back to them, so similar to what we do with our year group managers, looking at the progress across the year group, we'll be doing that with the governors, and we'll be reporting to the governors on how the children are doing across the school. Very pleased, because that was one of the issues that we had initially, because obviously nobody was quite sure about how mastery was going to work, but now it seems very clear that the government wants us to track the mastery element of the curriculum, and teachers were very keen for that as well, weren't they?
Yeah, and it helps us to be clear on which children are working at age-related expectations, and then which children are working then at greater depth, and the questioning that we need to further develop those children.
It does cope with it. There's an ability to be able to assess the children against the previous year's objectives, or even 2 years previous objectives. It shows up clearly in red that they're working behind, but you are able to do rapid assessment, tick off objectives from previous years.
Yeah, so you can see those small steps of the children who are working well below age-related expectations on the climbing frames.
And in the reports you can see the progress that they've made. Even though they might not be working at their age-related objectives, you can still see that they're making those small steps of progress.
And that was what was really important for the SENCO to see, that the progress was the most important part for those children. It's been a learning curve,
yeah,
hasn't it?
I think we've definitely come out with positives at the end, so we're pleased that we've chosen it.